Which chapter I told you?
Life
Life
process.
process.
Life process. Okay. So these two chapters left: life process and control and coordination left out.
Yes, ma'am.
So life process, starting with nutrition part. So life process or control coordination will do. We have tomorrow control and coordination, right?
No, ma'am, metals and non-metals.
Yeah, metals and non-metals. Sorry, okay. I will write it down, otherwise I will forget. Sure. So life process part. Life process you have learned in that the different parts you have different life processes we have learned, that is nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion part. So these are the four life processes which are utmost important for sustaining life. So life is possible if these four systems are working properly. One more is the life process that we consider as a reproduction, but it is not necessary for the life. So these are the main four this one life processes we are considering. So one by one life process in this one, these life process, how these happening in plants and how are these going on in animals, that we have to check out one by one. So in that first part is nutrition. So in the nutrition, the different ways of obtaining nutrients. Nutrition. Nutrition, these are the different ways by which, this is a process by which organism obtain food, utilize it, it's obtain food or prepare food by use of inorganic substance. In the nutrition in plants, if we consider, then it is the plants obtain inorganic substances and from that prepare their organic substances. That is we call as nutrition in plants. But in nutrition in animals, if we consider, then it is a process by which the organism obtain their food. That is by eating autotrophs or heterotrophs. So other animals or plants are the sources. So the animals obtain organic substances prepared from plants, prepared by plants. So nutrition definition for animals and plants will come differently. We cannot together, we cannot use this one. So it is in general, if you want to tell, it is process by which organism obtain their food. So some of the organisms can prepare their own food and some of the organisms take that prepared food from the plants or indirectly from other animals. So here in plants, they prepare their food, that is organic material, organic substances, by using inorganic substances. This process is called as nutrition in plants. So don't use the word as preparation of food by the plants as the nutrition of plants. No. Preparation of organic substances by using inorganic substances in their surrounding is called as nutrition in plants. And it is not only to prepare the food, it is also the utilizing it. For different processes, the utilization of that food, organic substance, is also will come under nutrition process. Okay. So nutrition in plants is done by
Leaves,
process called
Photosynthesis.
photosynthesis,
photosynthesis, right? So photosynthesis. How to define photosynthesis or mode of nutrition in plants is due to photosynthesis process. So now how to you can explain the photosynthesis process. Autotrophic mode of nutrition. Mode of nutrition, in that autotrophic mode of nutrition, only plants can show this mode of nutrition as they have the substance which helps to capture sunlight and the other inorganic substances. So they can utilize the inorganic substances to make organic substances. So that mode is called as autotrophic mode, and in that autotrophic mode, the photosynthesis process. So photosynthesis process is the process in which plants obtain inorganic substances, and from that they prepare organic substances. That is, this process is called as photosynthesis process. So don't tell now that is a preparation of a food, the process by which the plants prepare their food. That will not be considered this one. So you have to use the word as from inorganic substances, plants can prepare organic substances with the help of sunlight. So that process is called as photosynthesis process. Clear?
yes, ma'am.
Process in which plants prepare organic substances by using inorganic substances. What are inorganic substances they use?
Carbon dioxide and water.
Water and carbon dioxide, right? Inorganic substances in presence of water. Sorry, in presence of sunlight. This process is called as photosynthesis process.
Ma'am, sunlight as well as chlorophyll, right?
Sunlight, because of the chlorophyll, they are they are able to absorb sunlight due to chlorophyll.
Okay.
Without that, they cannot. So that's the reason the some protozoans also. Euglena is a protozoa. It has chlorophyll. That's the reason. Although it is a unicellular, but still it consists of chloroplasts, chlorophyll pigments. It has. That's the reason it can prepare its own food. Okay. Fine. This is photosynthesis process. Now, so steps of photosynthesis. 3 main steps. First one is
Absorption of light energy by chlorophyll.
absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll pigments present in leaves. Second,
Conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen.
that's it. Conversion of light energy to chemical energy and splitting of water to form hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen ions and oxygen gas. And the third one,
Reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates.
reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Which carbohydrate is produced here?
Glucose.
Glucose, fructose. Glucose and fructose both together. Fructose and glucose both are the same formula, C6H12O6.
Ma'am, glucose.
Binding is fructose.
Ma'am?
Fructose, Fructose.
Okay, never heard
Fructose.
of it.
Glucose and fructose both are the products, end products of photosynthesis. Both are the same formula, but the binding between the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen is different. So therefore, those are different compounds considered as. So that way you will learn in covalent compounds. Covalent compounds formula is same. Many of the compounds are same formula, but their binding, how are they connected to each other? That structure if changed, then the compound is completely different from each other. All physical properties are completely different from each other. Although they have the same molecular formula, so same number of atoms are present in that compound, but the binding, the structure of atoms, connections between the atoms is different. So therefore the different compound is formed. Just like glucose and fructose, both are the end products of photosynthesis. Or not only the glucose, the fructose is also there, but both of them have same formula, C6H12O6. But the binding between both of them is completely different. So therefore we consider them as two different compounds. Okay. So these are the end products. Now they will utilize this glucose for their own life process or all the metabolic activities. It will utilize it, do the respiration, produce energy, and some excess amount of, they don't need whatever they are preparing, all the amount will not be utilized. Then what excess glucose, where it will go? What happens to that excess glucose? What happens to that excess glucose?
Ma'am, it gets stored in the form of starch.
Where?
No, in fruits or sometimes in stem.
Where exactly? Excess starch is stored, excess glucose in the form of starch is stored at which place?
Leaves.
Exact location. What is the exact location? Where
Ma'am,
it
is
is
it
prepared?
seed?
Where it is prepared?
Leaves.
This process, photosynthesis, what is the main site of photosynthesis? Where the photosynthesis takes place?
Chloroplast.
Chloroplast. So that means where the starch will go then. Where will that starch go?
Chloroplast.
What? Yes, tell me.
Chloroplast itself.
Remain in the chloroplast itself. So which part? What are the parts of chloroplast?
Thylakoids, granum, stroma.
Yes. Granum is actually the thylakoids are present. So granum region is only the thylakoids. Thylakoids are the parts of the granum only. And the second one is stoma. So in the stoma region, because the end products are formed in the stoma, so only the granum part will take part, the thylakoids. Inside the granum, thylakoids. Inside the thylakoids, only the first part, splitting of water molecules will take place. And the formation of hydrogen ions and oxygen gas, that separation will take place in the thylakoids. And then that hydrogen ion will move to stoma region. So in that stoma region only the further reduction process will take place. Carbon dioxide will enter and these hydrogen ions reduce that carbon dioxide and they form carbohydrates. So these are formed in stoma region, the liquid part of the chloroplast. There this process has been taken place. The last process will taken place in the, that is a dark reaction, will taken place in the stoma region. So these excess carbohydrate in the form of starch will remain stored in the stoma region.
Ma'am, what about cytoplasm?
Cytoplasm? Cytoplasm is a different place, no?
No, like is what do you call
From
this?
the site to
Starch stored there?
cytoplasm, it will be moved out. So from the chloroplast, it will enter into the cytoplasm. From that, Golgi apparatus will pack it. Then it will transport it with the help of SCR. Then it will go to each and every part. And whatever the utilization is needed, now that cell, that particular cell also needs. So that metabolic activities, that chemical process will take place in the cytoplasm. But storage part will not be in the cytoplasm.
Okay.
Utilization will happening in the cytoplasm, but the storage will be happening only in chloroplast. That for storage purpose, it will not come to the cytoplasm.
Okay.
Chloroplast, I have prepared. Why I will give it to someone to store it? I will store itself. Okay, and whenever it is needed, it will come out again. Just like in our body also. In our body also, if we have taken more food, it will remain stored in our body in the form of
Glycogen.
glycogen. So if you hungry, then also it will not be fatigue immediately. Fatigue will not be caused. Immediate tiredness will not come. The person can survive without food for 4 days. That is because whatever he has eaten, it will remain stored in the form of glycogen. Glycogen again convert back to this glucose with the help of glucagon hormone. Insulin converts glucose to glycogen, and glucagon is the hormone which convert that glycogen back to glucose. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now other products. This is the utilization of carbon dioxide and formation of carbohydrates. The protein. Okay, and then how other plants, other this in nutrients, how the plants obtain the other nutrients, in which form. Just the carbohydrates in a more quantity, and other, that is a protein also is there.
Nitrates and nitrites.
Protein, nitrogen is needed. So nitrogen will be acquired in the form
Nitrites and nitrates.
nitrites and nitrates. So they are obtained by the process called
Nitrogen.
Diffusion.
the process by which nitrogen is obtained. First is nitrogen fixation. By the process of nitrogen fixation, atmospheric nitrogen gets converted into nitrates and nitrites, and that is water soluble. So with the help of water, along with the water, it will enter the plant by the process of osmosis. Okay, so nitrogen is obtained in the form of nitrates and nitrites produced by the nitrogen fixation process. Then anything else? No. Oxygen, what is the source of oxygen gas which is released out from the plants?
Stomata.
Stomata.
Source of oxygen by
Glucose.
oxygen.
Glucose.
Glucose is giving oxygen.
No, ma'am. After they make
Ma'am,
food,
water gets split into oxygen, right? So
Yeah, the end product, byproduct of photosynthesis is oxygen gas, which is what is the source of that oxygen gas is the water, not carbon dioxide. There is one MCQ question based on this. What is the source of oxygen gas at the time of photosynthesis process? In the photosynthesis process, oxygen gas is released. What is the source of that oxygen gas? Source means from which that oxygen gas come out, produced. So it is not produced from carbon dioxide, it is produced from water. So water splits to form hydrogen ions and oxygen gas. Oxygen gas remain useless, so it is considered as a byproduct and moves out. Hydrogen ion enters, it gets converted into chemicals, some intermediate chemicals, and those chemicals is utilized in the dark reaction for the process of reduction. Okay. Now, desert plants don't have this stomata remain closed during the daytime. So this is the exchange of gases will takes place with the help of stomata. So what are the structures of stomata? Can you explain the structure of stomata?
Ma'am, epidermal cells, guard cells. The guard cells look like two kidney-shaped beans. And then they have this chloroplast inside them.
Hmm. Yes. Alright.
Ma'am, the stomata open when the guard cells are tertiary close in their placid.
Yeah. So here in the lower epidermis, different parts of this plant have stomatas. So there are more number of stomatas are present in the lower epidermis of the leaf. More number of stomatas are available on the lower epidermis of the leaf. Stomatas are the holes which are guarded by guard cells. So guard cells only open or close. That opening is only called a stomata. So guard cells, kidney bean shaped guard cells are present in the lower epidermis. So those guard cells absorb water, they swell, they will move away from each other. The passage is opened, the hole is opened. That is only we call a stomatal pore. So through that, exchange of gases will take place. Even the process of transpiration happens through the stomatal pore only. Then after the gaseous exchange, now after that, when the gases have been exchanged, again the stomata will close when they lose water. So they lose water, they shrink in size and come together, come closer to each other. So this way the stomata will close. So this is a structure diagram of stomata. You need to remember guard cell, function of guard cell in opening and closing of stomata is important part that you have to remember. The guard cell diagram is important. Next is now guard cell. Now in desert plants, the stomata remain closed completely during the daytime. Then how the photosynthesis will take place?
During night time, they'll absorb the carbon dioxide and they'll store it and keep. And in the morning, they'll this one conduct photosynthesis.
Yes, in the morning time. So carbon dioxide, although it is not available in the daytime, but the photosynthesis has to take place in the daytime because sunlight is available. So without sunlight, the photosynthesis is not possible. So for that, carbon dioxide is the problem. Carbon dioxide they are not getting. So they will take the carbon dioxide at the night time, store it as a different compound form in the form of other compounds, and that compound again gets converted back to carbon dioxide in the during daytime. After that, the some photosynthesis process will take place. Okay. So these are the modifications has been done depending on the surroundings in different plants. So these are all modifications. Okay. Now what happens if this Vaseline, the leaf is coated with Vaseline?
Ma'am,
Will that plant remain healthy for a long time?
the stomata won't be able to take in any gas or give out any moisture, so the plant will die.
The plant will die. One thing that is, it will not be healthy as it will not get oxygen for respiration. Gaseous exchange is not happening, so oxygen for respiration, it won't take place. So respiration process won't happen. It will not get carbon dioxide. So photosynthesis is not possible. You have to write 3 reasons. They have asked give 3 reasons which explains what happens when Vaseline is coated. The leaf is coated with Vaseline. So one thing that is for the respiration, oxygen will not be available. Second thing, for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide will not be available. And the third thing is, what is happening?
There won't be any transpiration.
The transpiration process will not take place. So how it will affect any life process?
Ma'am, excess water.
What will happen if the
Transportation
transpiration
of
with
water will not take place. Transportation of water.
yes, transportation of water. The suction pull is not created. How the water will move upward? Water won't move upward. So these are the 3 things happening. And due to which these 3 things, remember, 3 things in 3 points, you have to write the answers. One is for respiration, oxygen will not be available. For photosynthesis, carbon dioxide will not be available. And transpiration is not happening. So water is not given out, due to which the upward movement of water will not take place. And if water is not available, the uh, produced food also cannot be transported any process, any places. So every process in that leaf will stop and ultimately it will die because no life process is happening in that particular leaf. Okay, so that is the reason when you keep a plant, it is get dusty. The complete dust is keep on falling on the plants. So always try to uh, pour water in its soil, but along with that, you have to clean the leaves also. Otherwise, that leaf will die, and that slowly, every leaf will start dying, and the plant will completely lose everything, and ultimately, the plant will also die because it cannot produce food without leaves. Now, what are the modification has been done to increase the rate of photosynthesis? Proper question. I will tell you once again. I need to get the proper question. The modification part. Some question is there about changes in the leaves. Adaptation, actually, not modification. It is adaptation. Question was there. Yeah, what are the adaptations of leaf for photosynthesis? What are the adaptation of leaves for photosynthesis?
Ma'am, like in normal plants and animals, or like in specialized, like in aquatic?
No, normal. How the leaves are modified means that's adaptations. What are the changes the leaves have? So different change the leaf has so that it will help in photosynthesis process. The normal plant, all the plants actually, all regular plants. There's some specialized structure that leaves are somewhat different. So what is the difference?
Ma'am, large surface area for more absorption of gases.
Okay. More absorption as well as for light also, no? Light also, more area the light will fall and more the sunlight will be absorbed. So leaves provide larger surface area for maximum gaseous exchange, and second thing, the absorption of sunlight also, for more absorption of sunlight. Then
Presence of chlorophyll in stomata.
presence of, yes, more number of chlorophylls are present. So that is the same thing. So due to more area, so it is spread out area. The leaves are spread out areas and they are exposed. So due to which more number of chlorophylls are present and more number of stomatas are present, so which helps in absorption of gases as well as absorption of sunlight. Extensive network of vents which enables the the proper transportation of water. So more number of vents are present inside it. Only one pipe is not there. When one pipe enters and after that it will bifurcate everywhere, distributed everywhere with the help of vents, so which transport water.
Ma'am, so how many points are there total for this question?
You have to write at least 3 points, minimum 3 points you have to write for that.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Chloroplasts, and generally remember that chloroplasts are present in the upper epidermis and the lower epidermis stomatas are present. So these are also the adaptations only. The chloroplasts are present in the upper region, so that is the sunlight falling on them. They can easily capture more number of chloroplasts, so more absorption of sunlight will take place. And they are present on the surface, so that is the sunlight can fall on that, and due to more number of chloroplasts, they absorb more amount of sunlight. And stomatas are present at the lower epidermis, so due to which the gaseous exchange can take place through that. Our sunlight won't fall on it, so it will not be heating process will not be faster. So these are few modifications. Leaves are spread out, more surface area for exchange of gases and the sunlight. Chloroplast present on the upper surface, so to enable them to capture more amount of sunlight. Stomatas are present on the lower epidermis. More number of stomatas are present uh, rather than any other part of the plant through which the gaseous exchange is possible. Then this one, the more number of veins, extensive network of veins are present for quick transport of water, which is required for photosynthesis. So these are the adaptations. If you want, you can write it down. I think so. In the notes, I have given that. Okay. Then activities here to remember: for presence of sunlight necessary for photosynthesis, carbon dioxide necessary for photosynthesis. All those activities, do you remember? Do you remember those activities?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Then this is all about the nutrition in plants. The next part is nutrition in animals. In that you have to learn first amoeba, nutrition, different parts or modes of nutrition, heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In that one is parasitic, saprophytic, and holozoic modes of nutrition. Parasitic mode of nutrition is
Ma'am, when organisms derive their nutrients from a host.
organisms derive their nutrition from host. Why it is so? What is what makes them to utilize the derive the food from the outside?
Ma'am, either they are not autotrophs, that is, they can't make their own food,
Hmm.
or they're heterotrophs.
Their heterotrophs means actually they don't have any digestive system in their body or know any other things that they can decompose the material to take that nutrition. They don't have any process to do that activity, particular activity. So that's the reason they have to depend on any other source, or directly they are utilizing the digestive substances. The digested substances they have to utilize because they don't have any process for digestion in their body or outside also. They are not able to digest anything, decompose anything to take out the nutrients. So therefore they directly dependent on the cell sap of other plants, or if animals, if we take, they're directly dependent on the uh, digested food of other animals. This is the reason why roundworms, if is present in the humans, they are generally present in intestine. Why they are present in intestine? Because they don't have their own process to digest it. So where the digestive food is present, available for them, in the intestine, in our intestine, the food is get digested completely. So they, from that place itself they are present. So from there only they will absorb that food and survive. They are not present in any other places. They are only present in the digestive tract. That is only in intestine these are available, present. That is because for their nutrition, they are dependent on the digested food. Casquita also, or you can take Amarbel example, it is on the host cell, it is curling out. So they move their spines inside the stem. So inside the near the xylem and phloem, actually near the phloem, they insert their structures, so that from there they can absorb the food, because phloem is the part of the plant from where the substance, the organic substance, will move through. So they cannot prepare their own food, so they are taking that food directly, which is prepared by the other plant. It's clear. That is that therefore they are called parasites. The second one is saprophytes. Saprophytes means,
They depend on dead end or decomposing matter for their food.
so why? There are also reason why they are called so. Why they are dependent on that? Because they have the process, which have the process possibility of this one decomposing the dead matter. So this
Ma'am,
organism, fungus, yes.
but they don't have any method of obtaining the things they need for making the process, no, ma'am.
Yeah,
So
inside their body that they cannot do that one. They don't have any digestive system inside that body. They can't do.
So, ma'am, the dead and decaying organisms, they decompose to their nutrients, no, ma'am. So they obtain the nutrients from there.
Yeah. So they have the process. Now, apart from parasite, what they have the extra part specialty these people have, these organisms have, that they can decompose the substance outside the body. They secrete some enzymes from their body. It falls on the dead matter, and from that dead matter, they decompose it. They break down the process. What is happening in our body? That process is happening outside the body on the dead matter. So when these organisms, generally fungus grows on the any other dead matter. So what is happening there? So fungus is digesting. The process of digestion is only going on. That is a breaking down of that complex substance into the simpler substance is going on, but outside the body. So outside the body, they work on that dead matter and then they decompose it. Nutrients are formed, the simpler nutrients are formed. Now they absorb that nutrients. So parasite don't have anything. They cannot do decomposition. They cannot digest in their body or not even outside. So that's the reason they have to directly dependent on the cell sap that is on the phloem area. They capture that one, directly enter and take it. Second thing, or they move into the intestine of other organism. That is the happening in parasites. In saprophytes, some advancement is there. It is they are able to decompose the matter. So they are not working on the this one part, living part. They only work on, they are harming the dead part now. So whenever the dead organism is there, those will be decomposed outside the body of fungus or those organisms or saprophytic organisms. They decompose it outside. The chemical process will take place outside, and then nutrients are formed. The simple components are formed. So those simple components will be absorbed by those fungus, because that process will not happen in their body. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And then holozoic nutrition. In holozoic nutrition, now these are more advanced structures. So in this advanced structure, the plants can take food, digest in their body. So whatever the fungus is doing outside, now the same thing we are doing in our body. The this one, higher organisms, not only humans, all higher organisms, they have the process of intaking, that is ingestion process. It will move inside the, it will get digested. So digested means what? Converting into simpler substances. Complex substances will be broken down into simpler substances. Only thing we are taking in the living substance. Fungus works on dead substance. So we will take that one. Higher order organisms will get intake the food. Then different enzymes, different chemicals are secreted in the body of higher order organisms. They convert that complex substances into the simpler substance. Then that will be utilized in the body for energy production. So this way, if the nutrition is taken place, then this is called as holozoic mode of nutrition. Some few advancements are there. This is only we can, according to the evolutionary stages also this has happened. Only thing is the primitive organism has not died. They are still surviving along with the higher order organisms, which have the different new modern way of methods. So this happens by evolutionary stages. This also we can consider as a evolutionary stages. Clear? So this is Holozoic mode of nutrition. The nutrition is obtained in 4 different steps. One is ingestion process, second one is digestion process, third one is absorption and assimilation process, and the fourth one is exhaustion process of left out material. So in case of ingestion, ingestion is a process in which the organism obtain their food from surrounding. So every organisms obtain their food from the surroundings. Herbivores eat grass with the help of mouth. Mouth is the place by which the by which the animals, heterotrophic animals, holozoic animals obtain their food. Herbivores eat grass. Carnivores eat meat of the other animals. And omnivores have both. They use the both ways. They eat grass also, plants also, and they are dependent on the other animals also. So this one, so ingestion is the process of obtaining food. So they will ingest it, they will take in food. First they crush it with the help of mouth present in the, with the help of tongue in our mouth. Then mix it with the watery fluid that we call as saliva. And then some component of that start digestion. There's some chemical process will start itself in the mouth. In the human beings. But if you see the example of amoeba, so what is happening? It is very simple process in amoeba. So how these 4 steps taken place in the amoeba? Can anyone explain? In amoeba, what is happening? What is the ingestion process?
Ma'am, the food is captured with the help of pseudopodia.
Hmm.
And then once the food is captured, the food vacuole called the phagosome is formed.
Yeah.
And then
This is the ingestion process. Okay. Then the second step is digestion process. So what happens in digestion?
the digestion is intracellular.
What happens? Everyone switch on video. Everyone switch on your video. Okay. Yes, Vishnu, how the digestion in amoeba taken place? 4 steps.
And digestion is intracellular.
Hmm.
I just know that digestion is intracellular.
Just she told after that much only.
I
What
learned
is
it.
that happening? That's you have learned. It's not new for you. Well, how the digestion means what? A simple word. Digestion means conversion of complex substance into the simpler substance. That means a chemical process. So for that chemical process, what is important needed? What is needed for that process? How in our body digestion takes place? What is important for digestion?
Enzymes.
Enzymes. So vacuole is formed. So when the pseudopodia is formed, the amoeba has taken food. Now it will form a vacuole. So inside that vacuole, lysosome enters because lysosome only have digestive enzyme. So lysosome has digestive enzyme. So when the vacuole form, at the same time, the lysosomes present in the cytoplasm enter that vacuole. Now lysosome produce enzymes. That enzymes works on the matter, that is a small insect, small algae was there. So it will digest that component. Digest means what? Chemical reaction taking place to convert that C6H12O6 into CH and O, broken down. And these nutrients are absorbed. So this is the digestion process, that is breaking down of glucose or whatever the nitrogen present in that. So nitrate compound is separated into nitrogen and oxygen. Water is taken, water will not happen. The carbohydrate is taken in. So algae enters. Carbohydrate is present. So carbohydrate broken down into carbon, oxygen, hydrogen. So this way, the different compounds have been broken down into simpler elemental form. So that is the process of digestion. Now that digested food, digestion done in the vacuole. Now what happens after digestion? That should enter the cytoplasm so that the oxidation will take place because that food is necessary for oxidation. So formation of glucose is there. So it is amino acid will enter, gets converted into protein. So simpler substances it will form. So now the digested food will enter the cytoplasm. That process we call as
Absorption.
Absorption.
absorption. So it is absorbed by the cytoplasm. This is process of absorption. Now next is assimilation. Utilization of that. It is utilized. It is a single cell, so it will not get transported anywhere. So it is remain in the body, and that the oxidation will take place. Oxygen, and if it is a glucose, glucose is a simpler substance. So that glucose combines with oxygen and forms energy. So that conversion is called as assimilation process. Energy formation, formation of the energy by any method, that is assimilation process. That will comes under assimilation process. That is utilization of that absorbed substance. And now if some of the substance inside the vacuole, digested food is absorbed, but still there are some substances which cannot digest. That enzymes are not able to work on some of the components. So those components are still present in the vacuole. So that has to be removed from the body. That is called as aeration process. So by the process of aeration, this will break down, the vacuole burst open because it is a single cell. So a single cell is in contact with the environment, that is in a water. So when the digestion completes, some of the substance components cannot be digested by the enzymes present in the lysosome. So at that time, the vacuole burst open and that substance, undigested substance, moves out, enter the water, and it will moved out of the amoeba. That is the aeration process. So there are 4 steps. So one step, inzation. Inzation with the help of pseudopodia. Whenever it sees any organism nearby, amoeba forms the pseudopodia and capture it. After capturing, digestion process, capturing the food, it will form the vacuole and lysosomes enters it. Lysosomes enters and produce enzymes, release enzymes which digest the food component, convert into simplest form. Now it is absorbed. The third step is absorption and assimilation. That digested food is absorbed into cytoplasm and the different reactions takes place to form energy. This is assimilation process. Now undigested food remain in the vacuole. Vacuole burst open and the undigested food is released into surrounding. That is aeration process. It's clear? So this is in amoeba. Question will be asked for either 2 or 3 marks. When it is asked, along with diagram, you have to explain it. Question is asked, draw a diagram, or question is not asked, don't draw a diagram, they won't ask you don't draw a diagram. It will be only asked, explain with the help of diagram the nutrition in amoeba, or only question is there, explain nutrition in amoeba. So when the question is there, explain nutrition in amoeba, then also you have to draw diagram. Diagram is mandatory. So it is always written in the marking scheme. If explained with the diagram, award full marks. Although question in the question diagram is not asked. Flow diagram is not asked. Flow chart is not asked. But it is always written in the marking scheme. If explained with the help of flow chart or with the help of label diagram, award full marks. That means that the diagram marks are always reserved. So in biology, you have to take care more. In biology for diagrams and in chemistry for chemical equations. still you are not understanding where to write the chemical equation, where not to write. Actually, whenever any question has, you think that is that equation has that reaction, that explanation had some changes, equations are there. Just like what happens, I've asked the question, what happens when sodium carbonate is heated? So you have written all the sentences. We will write the equation for that. So it is half of marks are stored for both of them. So always take care that is whenever we are telling that this diagram is important. So when the question is asked for 3 marks, you have to explain with the diagrams. Though it is asked in the question or not asked in the question, doesn't matter. Clear? Then nutrition in human beings. In that, the first process is ingestion process. So in the ingestion process, the food is taken in different carbohydrates, proteins, and food we will take in with the help of mouth, tongue in the buccal cavity. That's mouth we consider as a buccal cavity. So in that, teeth are present. Teeth present. Those first break down the components, whatever chapati, rice, whatever we are eating, that is broken down into simpler substances with the help of tongue. Different, this one tongue and the this one, teeth. Different types of teeth are available for grinding, crushing, breaking. Now it is mixed with the help of tongue. It is mixed with the saliva. Saliva is watery substance, watery liquid substance, which makes the food moisten. So moisture is added to that food, so it will not remain solid, much more solid, so that it will enter easily through pipe called esophagus, as well as digestion of carbohydrates starts in the buccal cavity. Saliva also consists of salivary gland, or salivary amylase. Amylase word is always used for the enzyme which digests carbohydrate. So saliva consists of salivary amylase, which converts this complex sugar into simpler sugars. So first it is sucrose, it gets converted into maltose, sorry. So salivary amylase converts starch to maltose. It's not needed to remember maltose, only convert that is carbohydrate, that is complex sugar is get converted into the starch is converted into sugar. They have used the word sugar in the textbook, so it is that sugar is actually maltose. So carbohydrate digestion starts in the mouth, buccal cavity. Salivary amylase, which is present in the saliva, starts working on carbohydrate, on starch, and convert them into simple sugar. Now the protein will not have anything, nothing will happen with that protein, and the fats, it will directly enter to the stomach. In the with the help of through the esophagus, it will enter the stomach. Full abdominal cavity, that is a digestive tract, has continuous rhythmic contraction and relaxation is going on. That will makes easy for the movement of food will get transported easily downwards direction. So that is happening due to rhythmic contraction and relaxation of these muscles, inner wall of the digestive tract. So this process is called as
Peristalsis.
movement is peristaltic movement. Yes, this movement is called as peristaltic movement. Rhythmic contraction and relaxation of abdominal cavity, the inner walls of abdominal cavity is called as peristaltic movement. So peristaltic movement helps the the food to enter downwards. Now with the help through the esophagus, esophagus is nothing doing, nothing is happening in the esophagus. It is only the passage from pharynx to stomach. Now the this one will enter to the stomach. Food will enter. The crushed food enters the stomach. Now there is a partial digestion takes place, not complete. Partial digestion takes place. Stomach has gastric gland, which is an exocrine gland, which secretes some substances, not hormone. So therefore, it is exocrine gland. So it secretes 3 substances. What are those?
Hydrochloric acid, pepsin, and lipase.
Mucus. Mucus as well. Okay. So first is hydrochloric acid. It releases hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid function.
Ma'am, making the foods acidic for the enzymes to act upon it.
Yes, right.
And it kills the pathogens.
Yeah. So it is first thing making the food disinfectant. So whatever the thing is entering, so it will make disinfectant whatever the bacteria or fungus or any other viruses enters. So those will be killed by stomach. So that is the reason right now also it is told this when this coronavirus also entering. So you have to take it you have to gargle with the hot water or keep drinking hot water. Why this is so? Because through the pharynx, they actually stuck in the pharynx first for some days. They multiply and they start moving towards their target organ, that is lungs. But in that duration of a time, need to 3 to 4 days, it will take this much duration. So in that 3 to 4 duration, if you keep on drinking the water, hot water, so those viruses enter the water, and water where it will go, the water won't go to the lungs, it will go to the stomach. So you are cleaning that path. So that means you are making that virus to enter. Means the people need to do that one. That they need to mix that virus with the water so that it will directly enter the stomach, and there they will be killed by the HCl. Anytime. So whenever we have any cold symptom you have, cough symptom you have, immediately we start drinking hot water. Why? Because temperature increases and the dissolution process of those bacteria or viruses increases. So first, whenever the cold also happens due to the viruses, any throat infections are there. So why throat infection? Because they are started working, their multiplication of those viruses or any other bacteria will start in the pharynx region. So from that, those some of the viruses will start moving towards the lungs. So in before that, there is some duration gap is there. Before entering into lungs, there is a duration is there. 1 or 2 duration days is duration is taken place. That's the reason first we have the throat infection, and after that cough will start. So in that duration, they start multiplying in the pharynx region. So whenever you feel that is you may have the cold right now, you may start getting cold. Possibilities are there. So at that time, start drinking cold, this hot water always. Gargle with the hot water. So that is whatever the bacteria or any microorganisms has stuck in the pharynx region will move along with the hot water. It will move towards the stomach. So cold water, that won't happen, because cold water, the dissolution is not possible. The chemical reaction is faster, or the process of dissolution will be faster when the temperature increases. So when you are taking the hot water, immediately those organisms dissolves in water, and along with water, instead of moving towards lungs, they will move towards the stomach. So HCl will start killing those. Immediately those will be killed. Okay, so cold, this is the one important solution for all cold and cough. Don't take any medicine. There is no any medicine useful.
Ma'am, the
This
last
is
in
the-
the exam.
Yeah.
The last in
Levels
the
you are
exam.
learning for exam only?
Hot water.
No,
Benefits of hot to drink gargling with hot water.
no. Then it is stomach. HCl is secreted. HCl's function is to disinfect the food. That is whatever the germs entering the food, along with the food, whatever it is entered, that will be killed in the stomach with the help of HCl. Second thing, its second function is to make the food medium acidic. So that is different enzymes start working on it. That is a pepsin. Main is the pepsin. Pepsin is a protein digestive enzyme. Will start working only when the food is acidic in nature. So means acid should be there. Then only the pepsin chemical will start working on the means start reacting with the food component, protein component. And then the third one is mucus, is also very important substance which is released through the gastric glands. The function of the mucus is to protect the inner wall of the stomach with the from the reaction of HCl. HCl is a concentrated HCl is present in our stomach, whose value is pH value. You can this one imagine the value of pH is 2, 1 to 2. So that much concentrated HCl is present in our stomach, but the stomach will not coagulate it. No reaction happening on the stomach, because immediately that concentrated HCl, if you pour in a hand will make a hole in the hand. It will form a hole in the hand. That much concentrated acid if it falls. It's near about, if you keep this one also, citric acid, whose value is 2.4, 2.5 pH value. That this one acid falls on your hand for some duration, you will see that there is a black patch is formed. If it is for longer duration, then not only immediately if you wash it off, it won't happen. But that direct citric acid, uh, without water, directly if it is falls in on your hand, after some time, if it is stayed there for 1 or 2 hours, you will see the black patch on your hand. That is a chemical reaction has taken place. Now this is the 1 or 2 pH value. It is a highly concentrated, so it can easily digest full stomach. But this is God's gift, that is a mucus. So mucus is the thick layer of mucus is present in the inner wall of the stomach, which will not allow the HCl to react with the stomach. Okay, so it is nature has done that one. We don't know how that is formed, how that created, but it is happening. So mucus is helping, is protecting the stomach from the acid attack. That is the function of mucus. And lipase is also present, which start digesting the lipids, that is fats. So partial digestion takes place, and depending on the component of the food, it will remain in the stomach for some duration. If carbohydrate is there, it will stay in the stomach for 4 hours. Protein will stay for 2 hours, and fat will stay for 1 hour in the stomach. So different durations are there, which keep the substances in the stomach. It will not allow immediately the food to. No, carbohydrates is 1 hour. This one is 2 hours. Protein is for 2 hours, and the fats is for 4 hours. Sorry, opposite I told. Carbohydrate will stay for shorter duration of a time. Protein will stay for somewhat more duration, and the fats will stay for much more duration in the stomach. After that, sphincter muscles are present, which regulates that slowly that partially digested food will release from the stomach, and now it will enter into the small intestine. Now in the small intestine, before entering into the small intestine, that food is mixed with some other substances. That is the secretions of pancreas and secretion of liver. Liver is a gland again, exocrine gland, which secretes bile. So bile juice stored in the liver will produce it and store it in the gallbladder. Whenever the food enters the small intestine, just entering at the time of just entering of the food from stomach to small intestine, that gallbladder release the bile. So the food mixes with the bile juice. What is the function of bile juice? Bile juice is not that, it will not consist of any enzymes, but it is still more important for the digestion.
Ma'am, make it alkaline.
It will make the food. Two functions of bile, always remember. Bile always ask question. Question is, although bile does not contain any enzyme, but still it is essential for digestion. So you have to explain, that is, it is performing two main functions. One is making the food medium alkaline, because the food which is entering from stomach is acidic. The acid is present in it. So now the intestinal juices will not work in acidic medium. They need basic medium, alkaline medium. So therefore that acid should be converted back to alkaline. That is made neutralized, and further more basic substance it's to be created. So that is done by addition of bile. Addition of bile neutralize the acid and again add some more base. So that is that food will become now basic. Basic and alkaline, both are same, only alkaline means the water soluble base. Let's get added. And the second one is it will start acting on fats. So larger chemicals of fat has been broken down into simpler ones. That means the big stones are converted into smaller stones. Powdered form. Just like for the reaction, instead of taking the bigger rocks, we generally crush it. Salt also, when we are using it in a kitchen, the rocks are bigger. So those will be crushed into the smaller one, then only we add into the food. So that is a chemical process will take place faster on a smaller substance rather than the larger substances. So therefore, breaking or crushing of the fat molecule has to be taken place because fat molecule is much more complex. So digesting fat is the important factor. It is a difficult factor for the body. So therefore, first process is the fat has to be broken down into the smaller ones. That is by the process called as emulsification of fats will happening due to the bile. So the two functions of bile. One is making the food medium alkaline, and the second one emulsifying the fats. That is breaking the larger globules into the smaller ones. Then smaller intestine. Then on those fat molecules, the lipase enzyme starts working from the pancreas. Pancreas secretes pancreatic amylase, trypsin, and lipase. Pancreatic amylase works on carbohydrates, trypsin works on protein, and the lipase works on lipids, that is the crushed fats, emulsified fats. And further digestion starts. Even in intestine, every coil of the intestine, there are different enzymes are present. Different enzymes will this one work on the different components of the food, and finally they get converted into simplest substances, that is glucose, amino acids, glycerol, and fatty acids. Carbohydrates, finally the enzyme action gets converted into glucose. Proteins get converted into amino acids, and the fats get converted into either fatty acids or glycerol. So these are the end products of digestion, which is happening in small intestine. So complete digestion takes place in small intestine. MCQ question. Now from that, this digestive enzyme is absorbed into the blood with the help of many finger-like projections called as villi, which increases the surface area for absorption. Villi are there, which makes the area bigger so that the immediate transmission of these simpler substances into blood, that mixing will take place faster. Okay, as well as it is richly supplied. So more number of capillaries are present in small intestine. So these are the two changes has been done in small intestine to increase the absorption, rate of absorption. Now one more question is asked here. The small intestine of different organisms are different depending on their input, that is the food what they eat. So that is herbivorous animals have longer small intestine as compared to carnivorous. Reason?
Because they consume plants which have cellulose, which take a longer time to get digested.
Yes. So for the complete digestion, it will need a longer intestine. So small intestine, near about it is 8 to 9 meter long intestine is present in herbivorous animals because they have to digest the cellulose present in they are eating plants. So in the plants generally consist of cellulose. So those animals has to digest cellulose. For that purpose, they have many different enzymes should be act on that, and it will take more time also. So due to which they need longer intestine because it needs more duration and more enzymes to act on it. Are you able to hear me?